San Antonio, you just witnessed a group of Texas representatives that as a freshman last year, I witnessed some fighters. And this city, San Antonio, has always had defenders and has had great fighters from this city right here in San Antonio, Texas. How many fighters are there in this room today? I see an entire room of Texas fighters. So I have a message for you, Texas fighters. A message that's going to be loud and clear, that's going to go throughout this entire state of Texas, that we are proud Texans, and that we're going to defend this state against hate. Many times throughout our lives, maybe you have experienced prejudice or racism at some point in your life, but never have we experienced prejudice and racism being served out every single day by a presidential candidate. And let me tell you a story of one thing that I hope that bounds all of us together as Democrats, is that we understand sacrifice. We know sacrifice. We know what it is to see someone else with a burden on their shoulders and to lift that other person up. So I'm going to tell you a story of sacrifice. 3 months ago, my entire life I've known that I was a son of immigrants from Zacatecas, Mexico. But only 3 months ago did my father share with me that he was not an undocumented immigrant that crossed the border. He was a bracero in the 60s that had to earn his right to get a 45-day work visa. He had to be the fastest man to pick 2 tons of cotton in Mexico in order to get a temporary work visa. And let me tell you something about that sacrifice and what it means to me. That sacrifice that my father made, and yes, my mother followed him without a visa. That sacrifice that my father made opened doors to a future that my parents could never have dreamed of in Mexico. Just like it is the American dream. Just like when a young lady in McKinney, Texas, or in Austin, Texas, or like my sister many years ago is named valedictorian. She too is dreaming. She too is dreaming of a future that she's going to provide for her children or his children. Those are American stories that unfortunately the Republican Party does not want to hear. They don't even know that story. So I'm going to say something. As some of you may have Republican friends back home, they need to be taught a lesson. I grew up in the hood, and my mother's main concern was who I hung out with. And she told me, "Mijo, be careful who you lay with. Don't lay with dogs, because you may get fleas." So what's happened? What's happened is that the Republican Party went out and slept with the Tea Party dogs. And those Tea Party dogs had fleas, and they spread them to the Republican Party. And then what did the Tea Party do? They opened the door, and what walked in? A red-headed, big, overgrown Trump tick. A nasty, blood-sucking parasite that's out to do nothing but to suck the blood of every single person that he runs across. You know what you call a tick in Spanish? It's called a garrapata. You know what a garrapata is? It means it gets you with its hands. Trump isn't even a good tick with those little bitty hands. So let me tell you something. Let me tell you something here, San Antonio, Texas. This state was created by fighters. And I have an Alamo Dome full of fighters right now that's going to go out and they're going to defend this state against that Trump hate. And we're going to win. And we're going to keep on winning. So thank you, San Antonio. Thank you, Texas. We're going to vote. We're going to vote. Thank you. And lastly, I'll see y'all in Fort Worth in 2 years.